So I was looking up the Battle of Yorktown. The Battle of Yorktown, I didn't know exactly when the capitulation had happened. Was it October 17th? Was it October 19th? Apparently on the 17th, they waved the white flag, but the capitulation wasn't formally over with until the 19th. So history says the 19th, but the ceasefire started October 17th. That's important considering the ceasefire with Israel and Palestine. If you look at the past 100 ceasefires, Israel fucks the ceasefire over and over and over again. They keep shooting, they keep bombing, they just fuck over the ceasefire. They don't give a shit about the ceasefire. It's only when Palestine shoots back, then that's when they say, see, they broke the ceasefire. It doesn't matter if Israel breaks the ceasefire 100, 200, 300 times. It's only when Palestine shoots back is the only time when... So I was looking up the end of Yorktown, and something that's interesting, 1776 is, the official Declaration of Independence, so that's the beginning, but Lexington and Concord happened in 1775. Regardless, 1781, so that's either 5 or 6 years, right? So either 5 or 6 years worth of fighting is how long the American Revolution had gone on. But it wasn't Yorktown. Yorktown isn't the very last battle. Yorktown is the last major land battle on the continent between the two armies, between British and America. So it's kind of like in the U.S. Civil War, very much when Lee is conquered. So when the main army and the main general is conquered, then the rest of it just kind of folds up and then goes the fuck on home. So the Battle of Yorktown is considered the last battle, but I'm reading right here you have a whole bunch of other battles, and this isn't the only ones, but there's 6 battles here. The Battle of Viduz Bridge, the Battle of Wamball, the Battle of Little Mountain, the Battle of Blue Licks, the Siege of Fort Henry, and the Battle of Cedar Bridge. That's in South Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, Virginia, New Jersey. And these all happened 1782. These happened the very next year. Yorktown is October 19th, if you take the formal surrender, October 19th, 1781. Now, the war is over. The war is over, then why is there fucking battles in 1782? And it's a bunch of shit, right? So you have frontier clash, British allied Iroquois. Here's another skirmish between American partisans and British raiders near a creek crossing. American militias ambushed by British loyalist forces during a patrol. That was January 2nd, 1782, and that's considered a British victory, right? The American militias ambushed, but because they, it was just war, man. It's war. I thought the war was over with the goddamn Battle of Yorktown. So not only are those things, you also have the major Battle of the Saints, Saintes, in April 1782. And that had to do with it was a decisive British victory in the Caribbean. It influenced the peace terms. And then ultimately, you're going to have September 3rd, 1783 as the Treaty of Paris. In March 1782, Parliament has a resolution to cease offensive operations. But it was Yorktown. It was Yorktown. Once 8,000 troops were captured, once Cornwallis was, fucking surrendered, the British troops are going to march out in between French and American lines October 19th, 1781. Cornwallis tried to delay the surrender, but the New York Redcoats never showed up. They didn't get their reinforcements, and then now you have all these tiny little outposts without reinforcements, without backing, and now without a purpose. A couple American victories, right? The Siege of Fort Henry and the Battle of Cedar Bridge were American victories, but the Battle of Blue Licks, Battle of Little Mountain, Battle of Wamball, and Viduz Bridge, these are all British victories after the British got their ass kicked. It's also like the Battle of New Orleans. The Battle of New Orleans was after the War of 1812 was already over. Well, it was Christmas, right? That was when the War of 1812 was over. So what were the main reasons that America won the Revolutionary War? I want to compare and contrast real quick just with Palestine and Israel. So even though there's been a ceasefire, there might be some more, they officially surrendered, or are they waiting till right now? It seems crazy to me. Okay, so let's release these hostages, and then you pull out the Yan Kuris area or whatever. And then once you fully demilitarize, not just, is it just Hamas or is it the entire population of Palestine? They got to give up their guns and fully demilitarize. That just sounds like such a fucking crazy ass demand. All right, everybody give us your guns. And then once the guns are there, they're just sitting ducks. It's like when Ukraine gave up their nukes. Well, now they're being invaded. If they hadn't given up their nukes, the whole idea of giving up their nukes is that, the European and American powers were going to defend them. But they gave up their fucking gun, and now look at them. Now they're being invaded. So I don't know. I have very little faith. O ye of little faith, I got less than zero faith. I believe that the ceasefire is going to break down quickly. I am actually pretty, jubilant, excited. I like that picture where I saw a whole bunch of Palestinians going back to Gaza City. So that's exciting. That's exciting. That's got, there's some real world consequences to this ceasefire. The ceasefire may hold, it may not hold. I just don't trust these sons of bitches. And if this deal goes through, that makes the Trump administration look really fucking good. Like they do know right from wrong. They do know what is fair. Okay, they killed 1,200 over here, and then they killed fucking 680,000 over there. Well, shit, that's not really an eye for an eye. That's not very strictly proportional, now is it? So just knowing, American history, we had a ceasefire. Our shit was over the Battle of Yorktown, and we still have, Viduz Bridge and Wambao and Little Mountain and Blue Licks and Fort Henry and Cedar Bridge. So there were still more battles and still more goddamn bombings and shootings and still more violence. Now, we should think about when we go to oppress a country like Vietnam. They were fighting for their freedom. They had the morality on their side. They had the military strategy on their side. It was their homeland, and they want to. So whenever we want to oppress somebody that's fighting a revolutionary war like we did, we should just go back to our own history and say, what would have stopped us? What would have stopped America from winning our own revolution, and then, basically try to defeat ourselves in foreign countries? I don't know why we would do that. Frankly, though, we should side with the revolutionaries all around the world. All around the world. Revolution is the only legitimate war. The only legitimate war is a revolution. That's the only legitimate war. All the rest of the wars are wars of, occupation, wars of offense, war of attrition, wars just to hurt people, war to steal resources and land. So I have a minute here. Okay, so there's 5 main reasons why America won our revolution. The Treaty of Alliance with France. The French alliance and international support was crucial. Spain and the Netherlands also diverted British resources globally. So thank you to Spain, thank you to the Netherlands, and thank you to France. Holy fuck. The vast colonial territory, over 1,000 miles of coastline. So this is our, front yard. This is our backyard. We use guerrilla warfare. We had local knowledge. We use hit and run raids to harass supply lines, while home field motivation fueled irregular warfare. No single capital meant Britain couldn't win by capturing a single city. High American motivation. Broad support. We were fighting for our own independence. We were fighting for our own freedoms. This sustained morale recruitment, contrasting with the reluctant British conscripts and Hessian mercenaries, propaganda and ideological fervor, like the Declaration of Independence rallied public opinion. Britain faced massive debt from the war, already burdened by the 7 years war, political divisions at home, and unclear goals. That was a French and Indian war. Do we pacify America or do we conquer America? So ultimately, they're not going to have the will. And then George Washington is going to use the Fabian strategy. He preserved his army through retreats and winter quarters. So he emphasized survival over risky engagement.